Hey everyone, I'm Cecil Laird.
Fuego here.
And this is your Horror Show News Editorial Edition, found here every single Friday where we talk about all of this week's awesome news stories and specifically what we think of them. If you don't want to watch just what we think of them, you want to watch us deliver them all nightly news style, you can head over to youtube.com/thekings of horror and you can see us talk about it in a much more professional way. This time, though, we get a little looser, we relax a little bit, and we talk about what we really think about this week's stories. So, and just to address the elephant on my face this week, you guys, I have to wear one of these breathe strips because unfortunately my nose is not in the best of shape right now due to the allergies here in Arizona. They're insane, so it was either wear this or don't breathe while delivering the news. And I would assume just a dead body laying here would not be the most interesting of news deliveries. So
how about that dedication, though? The man soldiers on for the sake of horror.
Absolutely. So, yeah. Fuego, I mentioned that our first story is The Purge is coming to TV, which I think could definitely work. And specifically what I think could work tremendously is if they were given the opportunity. The Purge lasts 12 hours.
Yep.
Why not give them 12 episodes and do it a la 24?
That would be dope.
Where every hour is a different episode. Yeah, no, every hour is a different episode, and you can follow the progression of all the different characters you're following and the groups that they interact with.
I think you're even thinking ahead of the filmmakers here, man. That's a great idea.
Man, I think they're missing out if they don't do it that way, because you could structure some really cool things. 12 episode in and out season, beginning of the or maybe even if you wanted to do 13 or 14, you could do that.
Like
do a half hour before the first half hour, and then a half hour, the last half hour, and the half hour after.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. You could do that and make it a nice tight 13 episode season.
Yeah, it's a universe ripe with so much potential for expansion, and Anthology works perfectly for this because there's stuff going on all across America in the midst of the Purge. Maybe explore more like they did in the third film about when international people are coming over to take part in the Purge. That would be cool.
Yeah.
The stories are endless. They could do so much with it, and as profitable as this series has been, it's kind of like a no-brainer. Ask me. So.
I think, if they don't do it that way, it's a missed opportunity. But, who am I to say? The guy is definitely talented, and the movies, I wasn't a fan of the first one. I became more a fan of the second one, and I was a big fan of the third one.
The third one was great. It made so much money. A fourth one's in the works already.
It's one of those really rare instances where every movie gets better. Like, it's really interesting that is the case, but it's not a common thing. So.
Especially with the same guy writing and directing all of them. Maybe it was like, get your feet wet initially, do the universe building, and then it's about just going insane within those constraints now.
Yeah.
And it's been good. Exceedingly increasing results.
Yeah, so I would trust it, and I'm on board, and I'm going to try and tweet this to the filmmakers so they can take that idea and run with the 12-hour thing, because that would be awesome.
Just make sure to give him his cut, guys. You heard it here first.
I'll give him that one.
Now, as far as something that I'm thinking you might not be on board with, because I know you're not too big into the witches. Suspiria was a late 70s Dario Argento. I've seen it, and I don't see what all the hoopla and all the hype was about it. I thought it was very slow and plodding. The Italian filmmaking, sometimes it's really good, and then other times when they try to go too artsy, which is what I felt like. You guys are probably going to hate me for this. Argento went way too artsy with Suspiria, and while the performances were good, cool concept, I don't know, maybe an Americanization will be good for this, although it is being done by another Italian filmmaker. So who knows, but, Chloe Grace Moretz. I got her name right this time.
Yep.
Yeah, she loves doing these remakes, man. She did the Carrie remake. She did the Amityville Horror remake. She did the American version of Let the Right One In. She was in Dark Shadow. She was in The Eye.
I had no idea she was in quite that. I knew
she's
Carrie
the remake Scream Queen.
And Let the Right One In and Dark Shadows, but I hadn't put together that there were that many. It's like all the horror remakes are like the Moretz remakes.
Yeah, she's making her money off of them. She doesn't seem to care very much, even though horror fans are like, why are you remaking this? This is terrible.
More power to her. I'm a big fan of hers.
Yeah.
Always have been.
No, same here. Yeah, not just with Hit Girl. I thought that she's funny. It's not scary, but even in something like Neighbors 2, she can show she's got chops. She can be scary. She can be dramatic, funny, and yeah. I don't think this is gonna have too much humor in it. But hey, who's to say? Witches though, man. I know you're not so.
We'll see. I'll check it out because I watch all the new horror movies that come out, especially with this channel now, and maybe I'll get around to doing. Since we just watched Westworld, and I'm not sure, the review should be up at this point, but or the reaction to it, and
we're gonna watch the original.
We're gonna watch the original movie, so we might as well do the same kind of thing. Watch the new Suspiria and then watch the old one and do like a compare and contrast kind of thing. That might be fun.
Because I know that's how you like to do it. He likes to watch the newer one first and then jump back. What do you guys think? Do you think it's better to?
I just frankly like to put off the old ones as long as I can.
Especially in the 70s, right?
I'm a fan of older movies, even horror movies. Crucify me in the comments if you want, guys, but I'm a new classics kind of guy. 75 or later is about my cutoff.
Well, I think Suspiria was 77, so maybe.
Shit. All right, well.
We got you there, man.
I got no excuse then. Okay, well, the next story then we need to touch on is Saw Legacy has officially begun production. Now, does this excite you at all? Do you like the originals?
I
know we talked about it once before, but I can't remember exactly your feelings on it.
I really loved the first Saw movie. I thought it was effective, and it was something new and fresh. The second one maybe has one of the grossest moments ever I've seen in cinema, where that girl gets thrown in with all the needles. That just turned my stomach. But I got bored with the series, I'm not too big on torture porn. I know they did 7 previous entries before this one, so this will be the 8th one, or is this the 7th one?
This is the 8th one.
Okay, the 8th one, correct. So I was on this one. I'm surprised that they have let it lie dead for so long, because those were increasingly ruling Halloween until the Paranormal Activities came around, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think with good reason. They were entertaining. They were a little bit diminishing returns, but they were still interesting enough, and I enjoyed them for the story building that they did, and I'm a big gore guy, so it works for me there too. So
there's one kill I saw recently from one of the entries I have not checked out, and it's where the dude from Linkin Park is like chained in this car, and there's just all of these different elaborate bits of where like 5 other people are going to die.
That was in the most recent one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
so,
that was a good one.
Hey, that type of creativity, if they're going to continue bringing that, maybe I need to binge and catch up and, properly.
It's worth at least checking out once as a horror fan, for sure.
Yeah.
Now, you're not up to date on the actual story, but the pictures indicate that something's up with the grave of Jigsaw. So
I did know he's dead. And
he is dead,
the girl took over.
She did for a little while, but the whole idea that his grave has been dug up, I don't know if it's going to be a Jason from Friday the 13th scenario where someone's got his body on display somewhere as a shrine.
Because there's never really been a supernatural aspect to this series,
No, there hasn't. And all they did was introduce the fact that Jigsaw had a bunch of followers that were trying to do his sort of business at the end of the last movie. So
continue his righteous work.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know exactly what the pictures mean, but I'm excited about what they mean.
Yeah, I honestly think audiences are ready for this. It's lied dormant long enough where I think this has the potential to be hopefully good, but more so than anything else, it's going to make some money.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so in my second story, something else that I think is totally bankable is a What We Do in the Shadows TV spin-off with those 2 bumbling Wellington cops that were just so clueless anytime they encountered the vampires in that film, man. I mean, hey, it's going to at least give us another look on all the other scary creatures of the night
what I'm excited
that are
about,
in Wellington. Yeah. What else are they going to show? What would you like to see?
Oh, I don't even know. I'll just leave it up to them. I imagine they'll run across a little bit of everything. If swearwolves exist in the same world as vampires, then, who knows? There's probably demons. There might even be, fairies and
creatures of any kind. You and I will be on board
I'll be happy about it. So I'm on board for this TV series for sure.
Yeah, I'm just curious what the Americanization or American release might be, because it's being developed for TV NZ2, which is a New Zealand TV channel, so it doesn't have any international distribution set up just yet. I would imagine we will obviously eventually see it, with the popularity of the film, especially here on our side of the globe, but I think we might have a little bit of waiting ahead of us, unfortunately. So that's the only thing.
Yeah, and the thing is, I don't know if we're going to actually see any of the characters from the movie in the TV show. I'd be surprised if we didn't, but it would be nice if we got another look at, say, Peter or Deacon again at some point.
They've actually been on our channel. We got to interview both of them at this past year's Mad Monster here in Arizona.
Exactly, and while Peter may technically be gone as of the movie's continuity, he told us in person, you never know. So.
Yeah, it was a little wink and a smile, you just might see me popping up in some fashion.
But enough about that, Fuego. Let's move into my last story that I'm pretty excited about, which is the fact that Jurassic World 2 is apparently going to be made to satisfy us horror fans. I mean, not specifically, but the director did direct a tremendous Spanish horror film called The Orphanage.
Yeah, and he's a protege of Guillermo del Toro, so, I mean, he is coming from a good camp of, just creators, and if they're going to make it scarier, I always thought Jurassic Park was intended to be scary, you know? I mean, that scene in the very first film where those kids are running around in the kitchen and the raptors are jumping, that is about as tense as any scene in modern filmmaking. I mean, credit to Spielberg, but dinosaurs eating people, that's scary, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things that terrified me as a kid. I had nightmares about it for a long, long time.
Ditto.
And I'm excited to see if they can reproduce some of those nightmares up on the silver screen, because, you know, why else do we go to movies if not to see that?
I know, right? And with the body count that they had in Jurassic World and with sequels always having to crank that up a little bit, we may have some really terrific, terrifying stuff, you know, in play for us to indulge in.
Hopefully so.
Yes, fingers firmly crossed. And so fingers were firmly crossed for a long time for me about our last story, if we were going to get a second Turbo Kid.
Yes.
And we got almost like teased last week when we talked about this music video, because all it made me and him talk about was how much we wanted a sequel.
Right, exactly.
And then lo and behold, they announced the sequel right afterwards.
Thank goodness. The first Turbo Kid was my favorite movie of 2015, so I'm super excited that we are actually getting an official sequel.
And yeah, RKSS, the trio behind the original short film, the feature, and that music video that we dug so much, they announced to the Journal de Montreal, so I just got to see some transcripts because it was all in French, but they're essentially confirming that this sequel is going to start right where the last one left off and just get right into it. So who knows if that's more with the kid and his gunslinger-esque cowboy homie or what. I just want more Apple Man. I hope they can
They have to double back and get her.
Somehow.
Like, her head didn't like explode into pieces, right?
No,
they can go get it, right?
No, not that I remember. And they put her on different bodies and like a few times, didn't they?
Yeah, so I hope they can bring her back, because she was definitely the shining star of the first film. But the filmmaking was right up our alley as well. So credit where credit's due, and excitement no matter what. Frankly.
Yeah, it was gory, it was funny. The soundtrack that Les Matos actually did as well was just killer. So with all these pieces coming back together, definitely check out that music video too, because it's actually a prelude, little backstory about the lovely Laurence LaBouffe and her awesome role as Apple. So yeah, bring on Turbo Kid 2, but you at least have that video to, you know, just bait your appetite until then. So.
Absolutely. So that's going to do it for this week's news editorials. Again, if you want to see us deliver the news in proper every single Friday without having the loosened ties, go to youtube.com/thekingsofhorror, watch the regular episode, and then come back here and watch us talk about what we really think on the news stories for that week. But for now, I think that's going to do it. Thanks for watching. I've been Cecil Laird.
Gracias, I've been Jaime and Fuego.
And until next Friday, remember, stay scared.